So in experimental physiology, we encounter many instruments like this. So this is one of those instruments which is very integral part of the experimental physiology. So it's called as electric kymograph or drum kymograph. Okay, sometimes also given a special name, giving in respect to the scientist researcher who invented this machine. This is called as SHERINGTON STARLING KYMOGRAPH. Okay, so basically this machine is used for obtaining and displaying some graphs, okay, in experimental physiology. We do experiments on the tissues, okay. So the tissue is connected with an electrode, and the electrode is connected to the striker, and the striker grazes over this drum of this kymograph, and it displays some graphs. So this is just a schematic hand-drawn chart over here, but we get a black smoke paper over which it is wrapped. The drum is wrapped, and it draws some line. Okay, so basically it works on the it's a machine, so it obviously it needs some power. So obviously it is connected, as you can see, it is connected to a power source of 220 volt AC current, and it has some gadgets inside. This is the part which houses some converters which converts this electric current into some mechanical works of movement. So let me just show you how it works. So basically it is when switched on, okay. So we have some switches over here, okay. This is an on off switch. Even if you are switching it on the power cable, we also have to manually switch it on, okay, so that undue damage of the instrument doesn't occur. So there's a double safety, you can say, the manufacturer has created. So let's switch it on and show you how it works. Okay. So there is a switch, and after that we also have to increase the speed of the movement of the gear, okay. So we have a gear being provided, okay. So as you can see, even after switching it on, until and unless you are not increasing the speed of this gear, there is a gear over here. We have to increase the speed of the gear from various speeds are there, given from 620 to 0.14, okay. So as you go up and up, the speed of rotation of this drum decreases, okay. So I will tell you one by one what are the parts, okay. So as you go at the bottommost speed, so the kymograph rotates at a very fast speed. So you can imagine if a striker is there, it will just if it's moving over this or grazing over this paper, it will draw some lines, okay. So mechanically, whatever experiments we are doing on the tissues, so it draws the depicted graphs over this instrument. So whatever experimental charts we are dealing with in experimental physiology is done on this instrument, okay. So let's learn about the parts of the SHERINGTON STARLING drum kymograph, okay. So let's come from bottom to up. So at the bottommost part, we can see a rectangular shaped chamber is there. So this is called as the kymograph body, containing electrical motor and gear system, okay. So there are some motors which rotates this drum kymograph, okay, and the gear. So the gear is fixed on one side of this rectangular chamber. So there is, in the gear is made of two prongs, okay. Whenever we are opposing the prongs, we are able to move this prong, okay. So there are different speed settings in this gear. So starting from the bottommost part, we have the neutral, then we have the highest speed, that is 640 in millimeter. Mind that these speeds are given in a millimeter, millimeter speed, okay. So then we have the 320. So then we have 25 millimeter, okay. So that means 2 centimeter per second, okay. Then we have 12.5, then we have 2.5, then we have 1.525, then we have 0.25, then we have 1.25. So like this is the gear of the instrument, okay. Then along with that, we also have an on-off switch over here, okay, power switch, you can say, okay. If we can rotate this body of the kymograph, the opposite side, we can see there is another switch over here. This is called as the clutch of the instrument, okay. So suppose that you are using the instrument, okay, and suppose intermittently you want to change some do some manipulation in the circuit. Okay, so momentarily you want to stop the kymogram, you are in between the step, so you can do what, you horizontally just switch it, twist it, use the clutch 90 degree, and it momentarily stops. And at the and when you are done with your setup, then you again rotate it 90 degree and start from the same point. So clutch function is momentarily halting the experimental drum. Okay, then moving up, just on the top of the kymogram body, or the body of this kymogram, we have a plastic material attached with this, which is also a rectangular block. So this looks like a block, so it is called as a contact block. Okay, it looks like a block which is making contact with one pointed striker. So this is called as a contact block. Okay, having two screws which helps us to adjust the electrodes that is coming from the circuit. Okay, and this is the contact area of this contact block. Okay, then attached to this body of the kymogram we have the spindle or axis. Okay, so this rod like structure which you can see passing through and throughout this drum is called as a spindle of the instrument. Okay, along with the spindle we can see a pointed structure is attached, which is called as, let me momentarily stop this instrument. Okay, this is called as the striker of the instrument. Okay, STRIKER, striker. Okay, so this is contact block, this is striker, this is spindle. Okay, so moving up, this is the drum for you. In the drum kymogram, this is the drum part, which is sometimes also called as the cylinder of the kymograph. Okay, then moving up, okay, we can also see you can also see some screws are there. Okay. So these are the levers. Okay, so this is a lever and this is another lever. Okay, so this is the lever for fixing the cylinder to the axle. So you can loosen the screw and the cylinder will move along the axis. Okay, based upon your experimental height of the striker, you can change the. Okay, so this is the fixing screw or leveling screw for fixing the axis or spindle of the kymogram. Okay, then we have this topmost part. This is called a screw. So this screw is used to lift the drum. So whenever you are loosening the kymogram, you can lift the kymogram with the help of this screw. Okay, so this is called as a screw of the kymogram. So at the very bottom part we have a leveling screw over here. So it is standing on 3 limbs. Okay, so we have another leveling screw over here. So with the help of these 2 leveling screw, you can just level up the instrument on the surface. So this is the SHERINGTON drum kymogram for you.